Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one of the most intriguing and chilling narratives in American criminal history. I present to you the story of the Zodiac Killer, a shadowy figure who terrorized Northern California during the late 1960s and early 1970s. Known for his cryptic letters and elusive nature, the Zodiac Killer remains one of the most infamous serial killers in American history. Join me as we explore the eerie details of this case, piecing together the fragments of a puzzle that has haunted investigators for decades. Our story begins in the summer of 1969, a period when America was grappling with social upheaval and a cultural revolution. On July 4, 1969, the first known victims of the Zodiac Killer were Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, who were murdered in a remote area of Vallejo, California. The killer's modus operandi was as chilling as it was methodical. He approached the young couple in a car, ordered them out, and proceeded to shoot them at point-blank range. What made this case even more disturbing was the Zodiac Killer's later claim of responsibility, sending a letter to the San Francisco Chronicle that included a gruesome drawing of a circle with a cross in the middle, a symbol he would later adopt as his signature. The Zodiac's letters. The Zodiac Killer was not just a murderer. He was also a master of psychological warfare. He taunted the media and law enforcement with a series of cryptic letters, each more perplexing than the last. His letters were filled with bizarre symbols and ciphers, challenging readers to decode his messages. The most infamous of these was the 408 symbol cipher sent to the Chronicle in July 1969. This letter was eventually cracked by amateur codebreakers Donald and Betty Hardin, revealing a message that boasted of his crimes and his desire to create a slave's paradise in the afterlife. But the Zodiac Killer didn't stop there. In October 1969, he sent another letter, this time including a fragment of a bloody shirt from one of his victims. His ability to provide tangible evidence of his crimes only deepened the public's fear and fascination. Despite numerous attempts to decode subsequent ciphers, many remain unsolved, adding to the aura of mystery that surrounds him. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror was marked by a series of brutal and seemingly random attacks. After the initial murders of Ferrin and Mageau, he went on to kill two more victims in December 1968, high school students Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. This double homicide was executed with similar precision and brutality, further establishing the Zodiac Killer's pattern of targeting young couples. In July 1969, the Zodiac Killer attacked again, this time targeting a couple, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau. The attack was carried out in a similar fashion, with the Zodiac's eerie method of confrontation and execution becoming a trademark of his killing spree. The most infamous case linked to the Zodiac Killer is the murder of 22-year-old cab driver Paul Stine in October 1969. This murder was different in its execution. It occurred in a densely populated area of San Francisco. The Zodiac Killer's choice to commit the crime in such a public place only heightened the terror and mystique surrounding him. Witnesses reported seeing a man who matched the Zodiac Killer's description, but despite a sketch and intense manhunts, no arrest was made. The investigation into the Zodiac Killer's crimes was one of the largest and most complex in American history. Despite the extensive efforts of law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, the killer was never apprehended. Various suspects emerged over the years, each bringing their own theories and controversies. Arthur Leigh Allen was one of the most prominent suspects. Allen was a convicted child molester with a history of violent behavior. He was also known to have connections with the areas where the Zodiac Killer's crimes occurred. Despite being a prime suspect, Allen's death in 1992, before he could be definitively linked to the Zodiac's crimes, left many questions unanswered. Another suspect was Zodiac Killer's neighbor, Don Chaney, who came forward with a theory suggesting that his friend, a troubled individual named Ross Sullivan, was the real killer. Sullivan had an extensive criminal record and a history of violent behavior, but like Allen, he died before any conclusive evidence could be obtained. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror was exacerbated by media coverage. His cryptic letters and taunting messages fueled public fear and fascination. The press, eager to cover the sensational story, often reported on the killer's every move, amplifying the panic and intrigue. This media frenzy played a significant role in shaping the public perception of the Zodiac Killer as an almost mythical figure, a master criminal who seemed to evade capture with ease. As quickly as he had appeared, the Zodiac Killer seemed to vanish. After a series of letters and a particularly brutal murder, his communications with the press ceased abruptly. Despite numerous sightings and potential leads, the Zodiac Killer remained elusive. His final confirmed communication was a letter sent in 1974, which expressed his discontent with how the media was portraying him. In the years following his disappearance, numerous theories and investigations have emerged, but none have conclusively identified the Zodiac Killer's true identity. The case remains open, and the mystery of the Zodiac Killer continues to intrigue and terrify. The Zodiac Killer's story has left an indelible mark on American culture. The case has inspired numerous books, films, and documentaries, each adding layers to the enigmatic narrative of the Zodiac Killer. The fascination with the case reflects the public's enduring interest in unsolved mysteries and the darker aspects of human nature. The Zodiac Killer's case remains one of the most famous and enduring unsolved criminal cases in history. His cryptic letters, brutal crimes, and elusive nature have captivated the public's imagination and fueled countless theories about his identity. As a crime reporter, delving into this case has been both a chilling and enlightening experience, highlighting the complexities and challenges of investigating one of America's most infamous serial killers.